these are not new tanks to you. These are tanks that you had in Coralville, and you moved them from Coralville to Waterloo. How in the world do you do something like that?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, I had to make sure I was there just for the fact they didn't need my help, but just to see it. They had 2 cranes that they drove into Backpocket in Coralville. One was maneuvered on the bottom, the top, and they positioned these tanks to lay them down, rolled them out on skids, and then load them onto 18-wheelers. So I think they fit 2 of these 100-barrel fermenters on one truck. They shipped them here, sat on Commercial Street, and then they had another crane that was mounted over here in this parking lot, lifted it. We had to remove the roof, lifted it through the ceiling, and dropped them in.
To get these things in, you had to
and
literally
I don't know
raise
if
the
you
roof.
can look at the minor detail of like room of air that we had in between these beams. And I think like that's what really worked out from an idea standpoint to be able to fit this new cellar that we needed for increased production in here. But I mean, you can see the air, the amount of air that we had. It was pretty small.
That is a situation where you measure twice, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like these tanks were just sitting around empty waiting to get moved.
Right.
Like you had liquid in them until I imagine the last possible moment. And
yeah. So I think the last batch we brewed, it was kind of crazy. So the first batch we ever brewed in Coralville was Slingshot. The last batch we ever brewed in Coralville was Slingshot.
Oh,
it just worked out that way.
Right on.
But they were full. We shipped out our last beer out of Coralville on December 18th. And then we closed the tap room on the 19th. So up until then, beer was still being cooled. It was going into Bright, being packaged until that day, and then we shipped them out all that day to at least make room for the transition.
Are we dealing with a temporary shortage? Like, do I need to stock up on my Slingshot Dunkel now because it's going to be off the store shelves for a couple of weeks?
No,
or you got that figured out?
Yeah, I think we've been in business. We were in Coralville for a little over 13 and a half years.
Right.
Over time, you got data. And just like any other business, you forecast, you know what you expect from the market. So we front-loaded our distributor networks across the state to make sure they had enough beer to get us through the transition period, bringing the tanks in, bringing Luke on board, learning the brewing system, because the brewing system here is different than Coralville.
Right.
And figuring out a way before we load these tanks. So we haven't brewed our first batch of Slingshot. It'll actually be this upcoming week.
So this tank is cow, so that's
right.
Tip the cow.
Right.
But then this is Bubba.
Bubba, yeah.
Now that's a Backpocket beer.
Backpocket beer, yeah.
You've already started making beer here.
Yeah, so this is the first batch of Backpocket beer that we have. These tanks will be full of Slingshot, Lemon Made Shandy, which will launch in February, which is our big seasonal. And then we'll fill them with Blanc Fatale and other brands as well, some of the larger brands that exist in that type of atmosphere, like Gable for single speed,
right?
You know, Blanc Fatale for Peachtree,
right.
Slingshot for Backpocket.
And then, I mean, you've got all this already figured out here, and it's so early in the year, but by the time it's Hawktoberfest season, I mean, I don't have to tell you, is that like the most popular beer you make, Hawktoberfest?
I would say, you know, a little bit different how we operate at Backpocket is like we have some strong core brands, but they're not at the velocity of like our seasonal brands. Where like Lemon Made Shandy is there, Hawktoberfest is there,
right.
Winter Lager is getting there.
Right.
We just have strategized and built a portfolio a little bit differently.
Right.
But yes, at one time in July, 6 of these big 100-barrel tanks will be full of Hawktoberfest.
Just Hawktoberfest.
Right.
And now, these guys, getting these in here, I mean, I marvel at how you're able to get these things in and down and so close to each other. Is there like an outfit that just moves brewery tanks, or you're not bringing these in U-Hauls?
No, when we started, we've had a great general contractor as we started this project, and they had experts that came in, and they were used to moving silos on farms and everything else. So like they had this dialed in. They watched in the brewery, they looked around. Oh yeah, we got this. And I said, okay. He's like, just leave them empty and we'll figure it out. And
Are you brewing here, because you weren't able to bring absolutely everything from Coralville here to Waterloo.
Right.
Are you brewing about the same capacity that you were in Coralville?
We will.
We
will, yeah. So roughly together, we're going to be at about 11,000 barrels as a combined entity with Peachtree, Backpocket, and Single Speed, which is puts us up there in the top 5 in the state from production. And then we have a little bit of room to grow. You know, as we continue to innovate, growth in the market happens. Maybe we foresee another brand here or there that may join our family. We don't know yet, but there's opportunity for that.
When we heard the news that you were, leaving Coralville and coming to Waterloo, the gut feeling was like, oh no, what's going on? This really is like all for the best for all of us, for you, for us, for Waterloo, for single speed. This really is, I'm sure it was a difficult decision to make, to some degree. But as you look at it now, no regrets, I imagine.
Think about what we can do together, how Backpocket is going to continue to grow and create some of those brands that you have loved and maybe we had to take away because of efficiencies. Now we're back together, being able to create more Peachtree beers, Backpocket beers, single speed beers, like whatever we have created in the past isn't all we're going to be able to do. We get to innovate together, which I'm looking forward to.
And I'm looking forward to what else you guys have up your sleeves in the coming months and years as this Wonder Bread, the breweries at Wonder Bread continues to become just bigger and better, yeah?
Yeah, I'm excited. We started with Tip the Cow Day today.
Right.
Wonderstruck, which is our triple IPA collaboration, was all of our heads coming together on our first beer. It's out there today. So that will continue to happen. We're excited about the future holds.
Aaron, keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. When you pet Gucci the cow, his tail wags like a dog.
Yeah,
it's got me rethinking some things
Yeah.
in terms of my diet. He's adorable.
He is, yeah.
Has he ever had a Tip the Cow?
I don't know that he's had a Tip the Cow.
Maybe he's not old enough.
We'll go talk to him later on today.
Do they have like cow years? Is that a thing?
I bet they do.
He's certainly not 21.
No.
We'll figure that out. When you talk to Gucci's people, he has an agent, I imagine a press agent. He's got people, your
All
people
kinds of-
talk to his
surrounded,
people.
yeah, he's surrounded. Yeah.
I mean, I just can't imagine getting a phone call in a world where I own a cow and the brewery says, would your cow be interested in coming to this event? And then saying yes to that. But he's all about this.
All about it, yeah. All about it. Super excited for it. You know, we brought the beer out. Last year we did not have a beer named Gucci. This year we have a beer named Gucci. And that just excites me even more, just to be part of something that's community and cool and fun.